What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Make Every Second Count Live. With me, your host and international award-winning Make Every Second Count speaker. That pumps me up to say it every time I say it, and I love it. I love it. I love it. So, but anyways, tonight's show is going to be amazing. Tonight's guest is nothing short of beautiful. I believe that's the first thing I ever said to her, and dang, I'm not joking. She's amazing. But she is going to be teaching us the benefits of living in the moment. And I am pumped up about that. But I ask you if you would please, please, please do me a favor. Share this out. Invite all kinds of people to watch this episode. And don't forget to give us all kinds of thumbs up, hearts, frowny faces, cry faces. You can get mad at us. I don't care. Just help us trick the algorithm on any of the socials we're on. And don't forget to keep the comments coming. We want to have more of a conversation than making just a presentation. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Miss Tasha herself.
Miss Tasha. Hello, Jeff. Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Oh, I am fantastic. Better now that I get to see you.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. I receive it.
That's
Makes me
good.
giggle.
I am so glad you receive it. Because if you
Mm,
rejected it, I'd be like, oh.
my goodness.
But
Would you?
so, all right. So I happen to know from my own background of being in a car wreck, in a coma 2.5 months, in the hospital 3.5 months. I was told I wouldn't walk again,
Mm,
but I came out the other side stronger. See, I actually grew through what I was going through. And I believe that each person needs to grow through
mm,
something in their life. Now, that something might be different than what I went through. I'm not saying everybody out there is going to go through a car wreck and be told that they're not going to walk again. But a lot of people lose all their money, lose family members, lose houses, lose all kinds of things that are really difficult to get past. Things that you're going to have to grow through to get to feeling better. And I'm just curious
mm.
because I know we have done this show before, and I am just curious if you could explain a little bit of something that you had to grow through.
Absolutely. I love how you told me right before we went live that we were just going to have a conversation, but then as you introduced me, you said she's going to be teaching us about,
Oh,
which I love so much about you. I'm a natural speaker. And the way that I teach, the way that I speak, the way that I facilitate concepts is to use my story. So you will hear maybe a little bit of a teaching posture, but that's just because I come by it
that's fine
naturally.
and dandy.
All right. So to answer your question, um, my divorce, honestly, and I say that with a different kind of context to it. So my divorce was probably similar to many people's in that it was not healthy. However, it wasn't toxic. It was fine. We were surface level roommates that had 3 kids, and I will always respect him. But for me, what happened is my heart started to break open. I started to want more, need more, and understand that I was yearning for more. And in doing so, I started, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, started getting attention from men that were not my husband. And that like kind of put me in the center. And I'm a woman with strong
Right.
morals. and integrity, and I couldn't go through with anything, but I felt that disconnect, and so that was budding and budding, and then it was February, Jeff, of 2020, that I remember being with my ex-husband in a parking lot, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I felt like everything was gonna change, and I said, I don't know what's happening, but I don't feel like I'm gonna be the same person this time next year." And I had no idea that a month later, our whole city would shut down, COVID hit, and that's when I had my big break. So, Jeff, you talk about your car accident and you love to talk about the bang, right? For me, it was an internal bang. And so that's kind of was my catalytic moment. And so, to your earlier point, not everybody's going to be in a car accident or whatever their story is. But I do believe, and I'm a visionary, we can talk about that. But I believe every single human being on this earth, but especially listening to this message, will have their moment of catalyzation. And all that means is a big old trigger to wake you up to understanding a lot more about yourself, this world, and your reality. So, long story short, my divorce.
Well, so I have to ask,
Yeah.
and not because I want to pry or anything, but how did that make you feel? Like,
Mm,
because when a person jumps into a marriage, it's supposed to be forever.
mhm.
It's supposed to be till death do us part, and yours wasn't.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Well, can I be candid? Can I be real?
Go
Made me
for
feel
it.
like shit. Made me feel like shit. I'll just say that. So honestly, my ex-husband and I, our connection at the time when we did get married, we were the perfect pairing for one another. What I believe happened and what happens in so many relationships is that we got married believing forever. We didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't know the traumas that were hidden or the subconscious things in our minds and in our psyches that were feeding into some of our bad habits, and so our pairing wasn't healthy from the start. So it's interesting because I got a few visions before I actually got married. Hindsight's 2020, but I didn't know to heed them or what they could have said. So when I realized that there was the disconnect in our marriage, like I stuffed it down. So it felt like crap. It felt like I was living a lie. It felt like he loved everything about me. He rolled out the red carpet for me, but yet we weren't emotionally intimate. And I think the lack of emotional depth in that 20-year long relationship is really what it took for me to almost recognize that was my core wounding, was feeling emotionally abandoned and emotionally unfulfilled and emotionally unknown, which gets me to when I woke up and kind of what happened after that. But to answer your question, when I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I had to, me, instigate the dissolution of our marriage, not once, but twice. I divorced the same man twice. But when I realized that I was the one doing that, it was hard. It was really hard to be in that space.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, I imagine. Now we have Robert Brooker in the
Hello.
comments. Do you know him?
I don't, not right off, but
All
I'm
right.
happy he's here.
Well, he said, I'll just say this, girl, that second divorce was a trip through hell.
Mm, okay. That second one was liberation, but it okay, you know what?
No, he was talking about his second one.
Oh,
Alright, you
well,
kinda
hey.
kinda freaked me out there for a minute. That's why I asked you if you knew the guy.
Oh, like, was that my ex-husband?
Yeah, I was like,
Robert, play along, sir. I'm kidding.
well, alright. But I just wanted to say that, first of all, I'm sorry for that. And I understand that it can be hard, and life gets hard for a lot of people.
Right.
And um they don't understand that they're stronger than they are. And a
Mm,
lot of people think they're weak. A lot of people think that they can't handle this because it's going to hurt really bad. Well, the thing is, you guys, including you, Tasha, have never been through anything that you didn't live through. Now, I believe you have this T-shirt,
I do. I
but
do.
I'll reiterate this. So you have been through nothing that you didn't live through. So
Mm,
if it doesn't kill you, it does. It makes you stronger.
mm,
And you might not be able to realize that in the moment because I know it's extremely difficult to see the positive in situations while you're going through them. But
absolutely.
it is there and
Mm,
it is making you stronger. You just have to
mm,
have faith that it is.
mm,
So I wanted to talk to you a little bit tonight about living in the moment. And
mhm.
I know you talked a little bit to me. Well, we text back and forth. I'm cool like that. So,
You are cool like that.
um, well, I know that you said you were deep in the throes of working
Mm,
on a book at the moment,
mhm.
and you were making every second count.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about that.
Mhm. Mhm. About how I'm making every second count while writing the book.
Yeah.
It's interesting, to your point about there being a lesson in every hard experience and everything that you've been through, and as you're speaking, um, the reminder came to me of don't waste my pain. As I was going through both of my divorces, as I was going through the nervous breakdown, all the panic attacks, the divorce, every single thing that I've been through, the mantra has been do not waste my pain, and I just do the next right thing. When you're in the throes of a panic attack, and I'm talking about cluster panic attacks, when you are an enlightenment visionary, when you're an enlightenment coach, you have to go through all of these stages of consciousness in order to be able to coach others through that. So in the throes of a cluster panic attack, just do the next right thing is to me, making every second count and just finding the breath and coming back to the breath. And so now, where I'm at with writing this book, it's throwing me for a loop because I'm a gifted speaker. I know that. And I know words just kind of flow out of me. Like my voice is medicine and my words are magic. And I quit my job. We talked about that in the last show.
Yeah.
And I thought that I was just going to be speaking the whole time. And I was, booking shows and doing all these things. And I was on stages. And then it's almost as if I got clotheslined or like yanked off stage. And I felt like my higher self, like the Tasha, like the real me was like, no, you're going to write the story down. I'm like, oh, snap. And so as that happened, it's just like condensed down and it's like the story. As I'm going through the story, my story, the story of human evolution, of enlightenment, of coming to conscious awareness of who we actually are as divine beings, live through me and through my story, that is making me relive these experiences. And so now I've had more panic attacks this week than I've had in months because I didn't realize that my body was still holding on in some areas to some of these emotional tension points in the story. So when you want to talk about making every second count, and when we remembered we were doing this show, and I was like, oh, I know, I know what I'm going to talk about, is how do you be on one side and how do you have these conscious panic attacks? What do you do? And so later here in a moment, we'll talk about that. But how I'm making every second count is understanding that every single moment, at every single moment, I can choose my thought. And the thought that I choose to believe, my body will follow suit. I can, in the midst of a panic attack, think that I'm going crazy and my body will feed into that. Or in the midst of a
Yeah.
or in the midst of a panic attack, I can say, I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm recognizing that this is a thought or this is an emotion or this is a sensation that is uncomfortable. And then I do the things. And again, we can talk about that. But to your point, that's how I'm making every second count as I'm recanting stories of trauma, stories of betrayal, stories of pain, stories of true love. And then also wondering half the time if I'm dying because I'm having like test, like my chest is getting tight as I'm writing. You know what I mean? So it be like that sometimes. So that's my
Wow.
story. I know, right?
That
Mm.
that's that can't be a great experience though.
It's great. I'm not even lying. It is 100% great because when you allow yourself to see the darkest dark, you're prepared to see the brightest light. And that's in your story. And hindsight is always 2020. Am I right, Jeff?
Yeah.
You can kind of see the blessing when you look back. So it is challenging at moments, but that's the power and the weight of the responsibility that we have as leaders.
That's so good. So how exactly, I gotta think how to word this, but how exactly would you say that living in the
Mm,
moment helps you writing this book or making every second count?
yeah. The thing I love about your platform is that you bring people to the right now moment with your sayings and your whole mode, like your whole message is making every second count. As a divine being, there's no time. When you're at the soul level, time does not exist. And so when you understand that you are an energetic being in your body, and your body and your mind are the only things that really truly perceive time, the way that I kind of make every second and get myself into the present moment is understanding when I'm thinking of the past, I'm traveling in time and that's okay. And my body goes with me and that's why it has those reactions. I come back to the present. And then if I think about the future and if I dream ahead, I'm still traveling in time and I can actually manipulate my body to feel excited about something that's coming up. We know that we get excited about the future. But when we come back to the present, that is when we have the capacity to be our fullest, most divine selves. So if you want to talk about letting go of anything that isn't you, your fears, your beliefs, the lies about yourself, about other people, the narratives that you have spinning about the world around you, the drones, oh my gosh, the aliens, all these things, if you want to kind of get out of your mind and into your soul, just come back to this present moment. And that's where you will find your peace and your solace and your moment, because every single moment is only experienced right now. It's like Spaceballs. Did you ever see that movie? When did it happen? It just happened. There's a clip. Hopefully, some of your your viewers will know the clip I'm talking about. But they do this. There's this whole scene where they play with time, like when it just happened, but when is it going to happen soon? Like they play with these words of time, and so making every second count is the only moment that you can be your fullest, most divine self. So that was
that
kind of
that's
a rabbit
that
trail.
is so cool. That's deeper than I normally am on this show, but
Whoop,
I
my
I
bad.
want to say no, you're good.
Yeah.
Um, so we got Lotus Roche in the comments, whose number I also have. I'm cool like that with her too. But she says
Mm,
being present is the key to really living.
absolutely.
So
And if you think about it, I love that you said that, Lotus. And hello, it's good to see you on here. Um, we only ever experience the present moment. Like
yeah.
that's all we ever experience. You can't experience a minute from now or a minute ago. You can time travel, but if you really want to live and be alive and be awake and aware, all you have is this right now moment. And so sometimes when you're living from your highest self, hello, we're going to talk about enlightenment today. When you live from your highest self, you act on those promptings. Some people call it says inspired living, inspired action, inspired speaking, inspired writing, whatever it is in the moment. Sometimes, most of the time, it can defy logic, and that's how it's meant to be. That's why it's magic, that's why it's love, that's why it's God, that's why it's spiritual, not religious necessarily, but it's more than just this human logic that we've got going. So yeah, living in the moment is how we really allow ourselves to embody our higher selves at all times.
That's awesome. So I'm curious.
Mm,
What are since I like to put things in simple terms,
yeah.
make it simple. Well, first of all, let me point out that Robert says in the comments that he is a big fan of the depth or in depth concept and woo woo. I don't.
Find me, Robert. I got you on the woo woo.
Jeez. I don't know about that. And then Lotus Roche says, hello, thank you both for this conversation.
Absolutely.
So we thank you because you are a follower of this show, but you are also a person that we call friend. So thank you very much. Now, since I like to make things easy for people, and I don't want people out there going through everything if they don't have to, I like to make it easy for them. So, what is, say, some easy ways that somebody can live in the moment?
Yeah. Just how can they live in the moment? Well, honestly, awareness, but that's not simple. So awareness, intentionality. Think about what you're thinking about. If you're just reacting and just popping off the handle when something just comes to mind and just flies out the handle and it's unloving, maybe not. And the same goes for how you think. And so becoming intentional and becoming aware of what we're thinking and what we're saying requires possibly that we maybe stop talking so much. So coming back to the moment in your breath and just pause before we respond. And so that's extremely simple, because what happens a lot of the times when we allow ourselves a beat before we respond, then we have a moment to really hear our higher self and the guidance that we should take in that moment. So then we're becoming responsive to the right now moment rather than reactive. When we're reactive, that's why we go down avenues to where we have conflict, where we have to learn about ourselves and be redirected to our power of self-sovereignty. So coming back to the moment, taking a beat, a pause before you respond to life.
Yeah, that's
And then just
something
trusting
I ought
yourself.
to do more often, because I have a tendency just to blurt things out, and it gets me in trouble at times.
Yeah. Like from stage, like shout outs to random women and whatnot. Is
Yeah,
that what you could be talking about?
just you.
Okay. Okay. But yeah, it's very human though, Jeff. I mean, honestly, we're all very reactive. In fact, we were born reactive. Like that's the survival mechanism of the human being. But as we are evolving in our consciousness right now, and we can go to the stars and talk astrology if
When?
you'd like to
When?
right now.
That was a few seconds ago. That wasn't
Oh,
now.
here we go. You're funny. Well, at that point, we were evolving. Now we have evolved to this moment. Um, but where we are now is we're becoming a conscious that we don't have to be in survival anymore. We can actually choose our experiences, and we don't have to learn from pain anymore. We can learn from pleasure, and we can learn from passion and bliss and joy and freedom. They can also be lessons.
Yeah. Wow.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you're opening up my consciousness.
You're opening it yourself. You're just using me as a permission slip. And that's all
No,
right.
I'm just talking. Like I really don't know about this stuff, so
Mm.
I'm just making a joke right now.
But this is
But
also the second time you've had me on your show, so maybe you do like this kind of stuff.
no, I like you. See what I mean about taking a beat? That
Mm.
I need to just take a beat, stop, breathe, and think about things before I say them.
I will say this for your audience and everybody who's watching this at this right now moment, this one right here. Jeff and I have boundaries. Like we from jump, he came on heavy, and that's all right. I appreciate it. I respect it. I revel in the attention. But we set some parameters really quick, and so he has all freedom and liberty to kind of push it with me, because we're never going to cross any real lines, and it's all in good fun, and that's actually our friendship. But yeah, when you say things like that, I just giggle. I giggle, but I also want everybody to know truly, and it's not you, Jeff, but if there are people around you in your life that are very reactive, set a boundary. Set a boundary. And then enjoy the freedom, because boundaries aren't always a brick wall. They can be a white picket fence, with a door that you let people in, or you close the door. Either way,
Yeah.
you're still sovereign. So
Robert says, I will offer this. I concur with Jeff. Tasha is easy on the eyes.
thank
So
you. I receive it. I do. I do. Can I just talk about something really quickly since we're
go
talking
for it.
about it?
Go for it.
As a woman, it has been a challenge to learn to receive compliments And I really honestly believe it's because of how we speak to ourselves and how society has treated women. And I'm not going to go all into that, but ourselves. It has been such a challenge to learn to receive compliments from anybody, but especially men, and especially being a single woman, you know? And so, Robert, I thank you for that. And Jeff as well. I know it takes a lot for a man to compliment a woman. And a lot of times women, you know, we shot, like we get away from those compliments. And, thank you for helping me grow in this area. I appreciate it, really.
Hey, as Robert says, Tasha, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, so he also says Tasha feels easy on the soul too.
So that's an easy compliment to take. Thank you very, very much for that, because the soul I can't control.
All right,
I can just
now
invite her in.
we're gonna get down to some of these comments from Lotus. She says, being present is the key to really living. We already said that one.
Oh, The Power of Now. I've never read that book, but it's on my bookshelf. I wonder. Lotus, she just said Eckhart Tolle speaks about this in his book, The Power of Now. Religion tells us what to think and not how. We must. Yes, Lotus. I'm so glad we're aligned. Yeah. Religion tells us. So one thing about this, I'm gonna speak to this on Jeff's show since he's
Go
quiet at
for
the
it.
moment. Religion, I love it. I used to be a pastor. I was a pastor for 3 years in the Christian church, and I loved it. I loved the relationships. I loved the worship. I loved so many things about it. But what I didn't enjoy was how we were taught certain things. We were taught how to believe. And as clergy, I was charged with teaching people how to believe, and that didn't sit well with me. And so when I got out of that, I still had to wrestle. And I felt like God was like, yeah, I'm still here. Just your mind has transcended what religion taught you. And there are many souls, in my opinion, that are younger souls that need the container of religion to understand their access to higher love. And I think many of us, as we grow out of the structures of the church and religion specifically, as we transcend that thinking and those ideologies, we will still find, and not even still, we will find true love in God. And that's inside of us. And so I absolutely 100% believe that religion has taught us how to operate. And thankfully, we can go to the stars for this as well. The generation of having to rely on external power, be it government, religion, or anybody outside of yourself, is thankfully over. We have gotten to the point where we can now be sovereign human beings. We are divine humans being here on earth. So,
Lotus is just commenting.
We're gonna have to get on a call or something, Lotus, because I love your energy. Yes.
Yeah, she's really a cool person. So I find it to be amazing because she's just something else. But so
good.
I'm trying to think of some way to sum this up. But so let's say that somebody is out there going through something like they just lost their mother. How can they live in the moment and really take in the beauty of what's around them and realize that their life is not over? It's just taking a toll on them at the moment.
Yeah. To someone who's in the throes of any intense emotion, be it grief or anxiety or depression or any intensity, understand, first of all, emotions, all of them are transient. Okay. Yes, you have a body and it seems to be very solid, but when you allow your emotions to kind of flow in and you experience, acknowledge them, and then you allow them to keep going, they will always keep going. The only way that they don't kind of flow through is if you hold on to them. Now, for someone specifically going through grief, find support and understand that grief comes and goes in waves. And some of those waves will take you down and take you under, and that's by design. But understanding that they are temporary and that, those moments of supreme darkness, they do pass, but they are there so that you may see the fullness of love in the support that you have around you, or in those relationships with those people that may have passed on. And also understanding that as a soul, you are energy, and energy can never be created nor destroyed. So while your loved one may not be in front of you, again, speaking to that person who lost someone, they're still very much with you. And you, as an energetic being, have the capacity to sit and close your eyes and dull all of your senses and really tune in and ask that person to be with you. And I guarantee you, they will come to mind and they will come to heart, and you will be soothed in that moment. And that's perfectly safe. That's perfectly sane. And that will be a soothing balm to your moment in that right now moment. So that's kind of what I'd say. But overall, to anybody going through anything, just to allow the emotions to go, acknowledge it, and then thank it for it coming, and then find love in it.
Thank you for that. That was a great answer. And I want to say hi to Lucy. Uh,
Lucy.
Yeah, she's from Kenya. I actually
Mm-hmm.
met her when I was over there, I believe. Can't guarantee that, but
Oh, I love
it's
that.
good to see you on here. Thank you. She said great show. So I
Nice to
just
meet you,
want to
Lucy.
say thank you to that. And this goes out there to everybody, including you, Tasha, including me. We have to make every
Mm,
second count. And you might ask why. I say because you never know when the seconds will run out on your one life. We'll be back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, have a fantastic week. Thank
mm.
you again, Tasha. I appreciate you so much.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem.
Bye, guys.
Bye.